Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Count down to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.
Feel the whoa with Listerine at BJ's. You can save $2.50 now on Listerine products like Total Care Anti-Cavity Fluoride Fresh Mint Mouthwash or Cool Mint Pocket Packs Fresh Breath Strips at your nearest BJ's location. Experience the feeling of a million germs zapped in seconds with Listerine. Discount available through December 24th. Save now, only at BJ's.
Welcome to the Wellness Transcription Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Gurley. Are you guys ready to grow together in our understanding of all things health and wellness? If so, you found the right podcast for you. Each week, we will give you access to evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle content that you can use to help improve the long-term health and wellness goals for you and your entire family. You can find us on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, so please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the show so you don't miss out on any of our weekly episodes or special guest interviews. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of the Wellness Transcription Podcast. You're lucky enough today to not only have me, but you get Sam too, the other host here today. If you guys remember Sam from our first interview episode we did, today we're going to be talking a lot about just exercise. It's going to be a real informal conversation me and Sam have on, what types of exercise things work for us, what recommendations we would make, and just real simple stuff that you guys can do if exercise is something you're new to or if it's something you've been pretty involved with for a while. So happy to have Sam on. We're going to have Sam on a lot more podcasts moving forward as we both get our schedules figured out. But Sam, glad you're here, man. What's going on? How have you been?
Man, I've been great. Actually just ran a marathon this past Sunday, so I think I've fully recovered. It only took a week.
Dude, I would be out I couldn't even tell you if I tried to run one right now. How long? So that's cool, man. I need to get back into running for sure. I haven't really done it since I played college baseball. They ran us so much I got tired of it.
Yeah.
Dude, how?
Well, I would definitely ease into it because I just took 4 weeks to train for this marathon and yeah, my knees are telling me, never do that again. Please, sir.
Dude, the fact that you did that in just 4 weeks is kind of crazy because I know some people will do like these crazy long plans just to kind of build themselves up. And you took the David Goggins approach and we're just like, I'm just going to do it, which is cool. You'll learn a lot. But dude, hey, so walk me through that. Like what made you decide to do that? And two, like, let's walk us through the days before and then what the race was like.
Honestly, one day I was working at the pharmacy and, I was like, well, let's plan for something. I didn't have any trips planned this summer. I was like, well, I need to push towards a goal. I like having goals, to push towards. And I was talking to my tech. I said, hey, let's run a marathon this summer. And, she was like, you know what? I would, but I have like 3 vacations, scheduled. So I was like, oh, okay, then. Well, I guess I'm going to run it by myself. So I just Googled marathons in Little Rock near me, and this one in Maumelle popped up for I think it was June 11th. Yeah, it popped up, and it offered a half marathon and then a full marathon. You could pick either one, and then if you signed up for the one or the other, you could always elect to go the further distance or just settle with the half. But basically, this is mid-May, I would say, or maybe early May. I just told myself, hey, let's do it. So that puts me right at 5 weeks to train for it. Or 4.5. So What I did was, I tried to get a cumulative of 12 miles every week or
Hmm.
so, and I split it up between 2 to 3
Okay.
days. And I was thinking, hey, if I just, run that much, then and then just explode off on marathon day, I'd be fine. That's a good
Hmm.
training session. Which it actually worked pretty good. I mean, my cardio was great because I've been working out for 6 months,
Hmm.
and so that wasn't the problem at all. It was, and I'll get to it here in a second, it was just my legs, wouldn't stop cramping.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it took about, just 4.5 weeks to train for it, and it took probably 4.5 weeks off my life. So,
Hey, you never know. You don't, the
but,
benefits you got from it
yeah.
might even offset some of that. Okay. So like, were you running it all before you decided to do this, or was it like zero, went from zero to just 5 weeks of training, or were you running every now and then like before?
I mean, maybe once a month or twice a month in the
Okay.
gym on
So,
the treadmill for, 15 minutes. But
okay.
also I'd sit in the sauna for 2 to 3 times a week too. So that kind of helped, get cardio levels up.
Well, that and you're getting
Uh,
acclimated to the heat too, because running a marathon in where I'm at in Texas or in Arkansas is no easy task. So man, that's impressive. I'm not gonna lie, Sam, that's really impressive. I'm kind of like, all right, I gotta go do something now. I need to start. I was talking to Jess the other day, and I was like, I need to start running some more.
yeah.
She used to be all into that. We both were,
Yeah.
and then life hits you, and especially working, and there's not as much time in the day as we did. Like I could go to the gym in pharmacy school after class for a couple hours and
Yeah.
get after it. And now it's like I don't have a
Mhm.
couple hours after work. I need to either go before or I'm not going to go. So,
100%. Well, I'll suggest that if you do take up running,
mhm,
I would definitely try to cut down to to a good fighting weight, I
yeah.
should say, in quotation marks. A weight that you feel like you can move around like a cat. You're not just
Hmm.
dragging around because that extra weight that you carry,
Hmm.
it'll show in your knees in
Hmm.
4 or 5 miles. You'll definitely be able to tell in your knees because that's the main joint that was giving me problems.
Yeah.
But um
I used to get when we would run long distances for recovery for baseball, which is quite often, we would run, at least 2 or 3 miles after we would start, during the week we would condition and stuff. And my biggest thing was I always had issues with shin splints and like that outer part of cause like I guess I don't land exactly. I either land too flat or I kind of land on the sides where I'm like I'm relying too much on that like shin, the outer part of my shin. And it was rough. But
mhm.
I only really, going back to your original point, like I only really ever noticed that after I was told I had to put on weight for pitching. Cause when I went to college, I was,
Yeah.
190 and really lean. And then I could, had pretty good agility and stuff, but like I needed to throw harder off the mound. So they were like, you need to put on some weight so we don't have to redshirt you. And then that extra, I think I got up to like, they wanted me at like 215, like by the end of that year. And, 190 to 215 is not a huge jump if you know what you're doing, but I was in college. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just ate
Oh, that's
whatever.
25
And
pounds. That's a lot of weight.
yeah, it was. And I
Big
didn't
move
put it
there.
on right. So I did it and it was fine. I could lift in the gym and everything, but I had to really cut back on like the cardio and stuff. And man, I'm telling you, like, I never would have had problems with my knees or shin splints until I put that weight on. But, yeah, I'm not that far off of that now. So it's like, I probably will try to cut down, which I'm doing now anyway, to a more manageable area and I'll start cranking the miles out. I've never been a guy who could run real fast. Like, what was I think my average pace whenever I did run was like a 9-minute mile or so, unless I had to run faster than that for like, you know,
Well,
whatever reason.
well,
But what were
that's
your,
faster. Yeah, that's faster than what I did. Yeah, it
well,
was
you
my
got to
first
think
one, so I didn't want to
we were
overexert
only
myself.
doing a couple miles. I mean, we were only having to run like a
Oh, yeah.
mile or two at a
So,
time. So you're doing it for 26 miles.
uh,
I had no way I'm keeping up a 9-minute pace for 26 miles. So that's, you know, I was trying to follow you along on your Instagram stories today. You were doing the race. And dude, you know it's crazy. I didn't even tell Jessie about it. And then she's like, "Did you see Sam ran his marathon?" She's like, "His pace wasn't bad. He did really good." And then I was like, "Yeah, Sambo just did it." It was cool. Did you take my advice and get any of those, you know, carb things, the fast acting ones, or did you just say, "Nah, I'm winging it"?
Yes, I got the goo, or I think
Yeah.
that's what it's called, right? The goo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just such a spur of the moment purchase that I got it from Academy Sports there, and I
Okay.
got probably 8 or 9 of them, and I ended up going through, well, almost yeah, 6 or 7 of them throughout the race, but they tasted great. I love the sea salt and watermelon are my
Hmm.
favorite. Those are the best ones.
Yeah. I mean,
And
those,
but I had 2 Gatorades with me and 2 water bottles, and I ended up having to drink a couple teas, like sweet teas from this old lady. She
mhm.
funny story. This older lady, his or her husband was running a marathon. He's trying to run one in every state, every 50, all the 50 states. So I think he was on 10 or 12 states in, and
Mhm.
it's kind of funny because his pace was pretty much a walk, but he was doing it.
Mhm.
He was out there, you know, getting it done. So you can't really talk the talk with him, but it
Mhm.
was so cool that she kind of was like my mom in a sense because uh, every lap had 2 mile or every lap was about 2 miles over the lake, and so
Mhm.
every time I passed by the parking lot, she was there ready with water in hand, with Pringles, with salty snacks, with peanuts.
Mhm.
I mean, she was there for me. Honestly, she probably ended up saving my life because I was not prepared with on the snacks. I mean, you
If I'd
you
have
told me to
known,
carb up the couple nights before, so I was
mhm.
eating spaghetti nonstop, and then I had pizza the day before, and then the bad decision that I made was I ate spaghetti at 5 o'clock that morning. Race was supposed to start
No,
at 6.
no, you can't do that. Oh, you
Dude,
carb up the couple
I
days before,
I
and
ate
if you do
well,
anything the morning
mile
of, it's
5,
gotta be
mile 5, I figured out mile 5 that was a bad idea.
that's hilarious. Dude, I kind of feel bad
The
because if I didn't known you were doing that a little bit, like if I'd have known the day you decided you were gonna do it in 5 weeks, I'd have probably been able to work you up something that would have helped quite a bit. But that's for next
Yeah.
time. But dude, that's cool, man. I can't, like, that is impressive. Like, you've always been a guy. I mean, even in pharmacy school, Sam's always been a go-getter. So, you know, when Sam sets his mind to something, he's going to do it. But that, man, that's impressive. I could not tell you I could make that same decision right now, but I'll take your advice when I get
Yeah.
to a weight where I feel like I can move pretty quickly. Um, I'll take you up on
Yeah.
that. We could run one. Um,
Oh, I'd love to. And my pace was 10 minutes and 38 seconds for through a half marathon, and then I finished out at looks like a 12-minute
yeah, yeah.
pace through 20 through a marathon.
If I had to,
So I think it was a great first run for me.
yeah, man, you'll learn a lot for sure on, especially like things you would do better, things that you felt like you did really well on, that first race. But like, let me guess,
Yeah.
I'm just going to spitball this. I'm going to see if I can figure this out. So how long did you run for? Like, what was your total time?
It was 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay. You ran at a 10.5 minute pace for about that long. I'm going to try to, like, again, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to try to guess how many calories you burned through that
Oh,
period.
yes.
Okay, it's definitely probably more than 3,000. So if
Yeah,
I
this number surprised me too.
if you're
This number surprised me too.
so I'm just I'm gonna give you a range. I'm not gonna be able to get it that close. So you probably burned at that pace for that long in the heat like that without knowing your heart rate, like what zone you were in, you probably burned
Yeah.
anywhere from probably 3,800 to around, I'll give it 5,000 ish. I want to put it at like 4,200 ish, roughly. Am I close?
So, I mean, just this Under Armour
Yeah, I mean,
runner tracker, it calculated out, and I don't think it took in the temperature into effect, but it's set at 3,400,
okay.
3,471 calories.
Okay. Yeah, you probably those fitness trackers really, I mean, they can range anywhere from, God, I think I have to look at the study again, but I'm pretty sure they were anywhere from 25 to 90% not accurate. It's like it was this huge range, and it depends on what one you have. But like, I mean, I think like the cheapest, I think the cheapest one that I saw in the study was like one of the ones you could easily afford, and I want to say it was like 90% in it, overestimated by 90%. But that one was like saying if you're in the gym for like lifting weights for like 45 minutes, you were burning 1,500 calories. Like that's not anywhere close. Now you running like that, you easily probably burned more, probably like around 4,500.
Wow.
So,
well, that's crazy to think about,
yeah, I mean,
but I mean, it's a free app, so it's probably not as close as I would want.
You burned a lot more than you think. So that's crazy. But yeah, okay. So I know we were going to talk about, our approaches. So before the marathon part, like what, if Sam, like what's your weekly routine in terms of exercise look like? Like how does Sam do it? And then we'll talk about mine, and then we can just ask each other questions and spit back and forth. Cause I think everyone tries to, just like nutrition, I feel like everyone tries to overcomplicate exercise too, and makes it think it's a lot harder than it needs to be.
Yeah. So we're kind of stepping off of the running and going into kind of just strength training. Okay.
Well, not necessarily. Like, what is, okay, for example, like, what is your work? Now that you've finished the marathon, and like, I'm assuming you're not trying to like turn around and do another one, but I assume you just ran that whole bit, so I'm sure running is part of your routine now. What does Sam's week look like in terms of strength training and things you do for recovery and cardio? Like, how's that balance out? Well, how do you structure your weeks?
Yeah. So, with it being summertime, I don't hang out in the sauna as much as I do in the winter. But I usually go in the sauna probably 2 times for about 20 minutes a week. So, I mean, just, 2 20-minute intervals. So around 40 minutes a week. And then I'm looking at least 3 times for strength training. Usually just hit shoulders or upper body and arms, and then I'll hit legs, and then I'll hit core. So, and then core goes with my back to my bottom of back. So I'm just kind of splitting it up into upper, middle, and lower body throughout those 3 workouts. And then I've gotten into a groove to where I play basketball at the gym with a couple buddies every Tuesday. So getting in some cardio, getting some quick movements, just moving around. And I have a competitive spirit anyway, so it doesn't feel like running at all once you're out there trying to score and do plays. So
yeah, that's a good like balance. So when you're working out, when you do strength training, how long are you going? How long are you at the gym for?
Oh,
and don't tell me
some days, man, I want to stay.
Don't tell me.
Some days I want to stay in there for like an hour and a half. I like an hour and a half to almost 2 hours.
Okay.
Some days.
All right, now is that 2 hours of solid working out, or are you the kind of guy that scrolls on his phone in between sets and like takes 5 minutes between? I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, my typical workout ranges from around 40, probably an hour.
Okay.
I'd say I work it, and I'm going set to set to set. I mean, I'm not really playing on my phone. I'm usually just plugged into some music or podcast and just hammering it out. So the only breaks I get are usually just going to get a drink at the water fountain.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, I'm in there to work out. I'm not in there to just to scroll on my phone. It kind of takes the joy out of the whole scene,
Yeah.
just like just like you create a room for doing something. Once I step in that gym, well, okay, I'm not texting anybody
Mhm.
unless somebody, calls me. And that's the only way I communicate is if somebody calls me, yeah, I'll answer it. But I'm not texting. I'm not on social media. I'm just listening to my music and getting a good pump in, or trying to.
Yeah. I do the same. When my headphones are in, like if someone comes up to me to ask me like an actual question, which rarely happens, like I don't, I
Yeah.
work out at not at a gym. It's called Texas Fit Culture down here in Pflugerville. I'll take you. We can go when you come down to visit. We can go
Yeah.
check it out one morning. Um,
I'd love I'd love to. Yeah.
we can do that. And it's just it's got a little bit of everything, but it's not super huge. It's not like a huge commercial gym like you would think. So there's not that many people in there. The foot traffic's pretty minimal. Um, but
Oh, can't beat a little independent gym there.
yeah, I mean, I do a lot more lifting, but like I said, I've had to kind of modify everything. Um, I can finally do everything.
Yeah.
Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Countdown to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.
Ah, feel the whoa with Listerine at BJ's. You can save $2.50 now on Listerine products like Total Care Anti-Cavity Fluoride Fresh Mint Mouthwash or Cool Mint Pocket Packs Fresh Breath Strips at your nearest BJ's location. Experience the feeling of a million germs zapped in seconds with Listerine. Discount available through December 24th. Save now, only at BJ's.
What were you saying?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I had to modify how I trained, intensity wise, what kind of lifts I did a couple of years. I want to say right at the tail end of pharmacy school is when like I had herniated a disc in my back. So my L5S1, I just blew it out. Like I was doing a squat one day. I don't know. Probably, you remember when in Arkansas, maybe it wasn't last year, but the year before when it was that terrible winter storm came through and it was like negative temperatures and stuff. Do you remember that back in like, I think it was February?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And we had snowfall like over a foot.
Yeah. We
there
were all,
for
yeah.
a week straight.
Yeah. I'd hurt my back like maybe 2 weeks prior to that. And it felt tight, but like I didn't think I hurt it bad. Dude, I don't know what it was, but when that cold weather came through, I was walking around like an 80-year-old man and it was bad. It was bad. And it took like 4 months of it not getting any better before I was like, okay, or not 4 months, maybe a couple months of me just like agonizingly making it through rotations to the point where when I would show up in the morning to the pharmacy I was at for that month, I would literally get out of my truck. It would hurt. So like I could sit down, it'd be fine. But getting up and walking after sitting for a long period of time was brutal. I would walk like hunched over because I couldn't straighten my back up, and I would like waddle into the store. And one of the pharmacists was like,
Ow.
you need to go get that looked at. And he goes, you look terrible. And I go, once I'm on my feet and I'm moving and I'm in the pharmacy, it ended up being fine. But dude, if I'd sit and stand, it was brutal. And so I literally took off from probably February till maybe like August before I felt like I could put any weight on my back. Like I could do like arms and stuff and whatever, but anything that loaded my spine, I would just have that sciatica pain shooting down my left leg. I didn't have any like loss or of function or like numbness or anything, so they didn't want to do surgery on it. But I had to do a couple steroid injections, like epidural ones to fix it. And I mean, those hurt, and then I was probably another,
That's tough.
yeah, it was probably another 6 months after that to where I felt comfortable not doing machines. Like all my leg exercises were on machines because I couldn't load my spine still. And it literally, I can just now get back to doing it. And even now I'm like, okay, I heard it squatting too much weight. Like I don't want to do it again because I know how long
Yeah.
that took. So I really kind of fell out of working out for a long time. So I got out of shape really bad for a little bit there.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a work in progress getting some semblance of a routine back after an injury like that. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, which you're probably back stronger than
Mhm.
what you were before. It just takes time to heal with things like that, especially the ligaments and whatnot.
yeah, I mean,
All that it gets too complicated once you
you know, I,
hurt something major like that.
I don't credit sports because like I don't know what it is about us pitchers, but like all my buddies that I pitched with in college, to a degree, all have lower back issues. I don't know if there's any science behind that, but it's
Really?
really bizarre. It might be, it might have to do with like the twisting and stuff over and over again, the repetitive nature of it. But I mean, I've had lower
Yeah.
back pain, like, just ever since I stopped playing baseball pretty routinely. It's not too bad, but I
Yeah.
learned pretty quickly
Well,
that I didn't.
I could see. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the last thing. I learned pretty quickly that like what I was neglecting, and I think the big reason why my back was messed up is because my core was pretty weak. So I never really trained my
Yes.
core,
Yeah.
and now I've
Yeah.
prioritized training core and really strengthening that up and all the stuff around where the injury was, and it's made a good bit of difference. But like I said, this last year's been kind of just me trying to get back to the basics and just get something consistent down and not trying to get it too much into my head about, am I going to get hurt again?
Yeah. No, I could kind of see that, with your whole wind up of that lever, with your arm. I could see it starting right there in your spine, just traveling up your spine, down your arm, and then boom,
Yeah.
you throw the ball. It just seems like it's there,
Mhm.
just by looking at it and thinking about it. You could probably start that lever kind of like a whip almost.
Mhm.
You just start that big whip, and then whoom,
Yeah.
at the very end, you got your crack of your hand, and you throw the ball.
Yeah. It's a lot of torque and
Yeah.
stuff, and, driving, like also, depending on if you're right or left-handed, really driving down the mound via whatever dominant leg you had can kind of, like, for example, like we would do, you know what a pistol squat is, where like you stand up and then you like squat down and come back up. You know what I'm talking about? I can do that.
Oh yeah,
I can,
my tech had me do that one the other day.
I I can do it on my left leg, which is the leg I used to drive down the mound. No problem. Right leg can't do it. Like it's significantly weaker.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
So I did a poor job when I was playing sports of like balancing all that out. And, we didn't know, we just went to the gym, lifted weights and did, went to practice, like didn't really have
I
the
mean,
resources
you
or
don't.
knowledge to like do it right and really recover and do it how you're supposed to. So
I mean, you
know.
don't know what you don't know.
that's true. That's
You
true.
always need a good. You always need a good strength training coach. In every athletic,
Mhm. We didn't have one.
position. But
Yeah, we didn't have one. But like,
yeah,
but now being an adult and working full time, I finally get what people say when they're like, man, I'm really struggling finding the time. Granted, you can find the time if you prioritize it enough, but it you can get, my workouts are typically anywhere from an hour 15, hour 30, depending on
Yeah.
how
yeah,
the type of volume I'm doing, and that's a pretty good pace for me. I try to do it minimum of 4 times, but I'll push it to 5 or 6 if I have to. And then right now I'm trying to cut some weight, so I'm doing a lot of cardio, but I'm not. That's what the Peloton behind me is. My wife got one, so I ride that thing. It's pretty cool thing to have. It's
yeah.
it's neat, but I don't know, man. I don't feel like it has to be that complicated or you have to do all the fancy stuff. Like I know one of my family members called me one day and was like, hey, like, doctor says I got to start doing something to get my health in check.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, we'll don't overcomplicate it. We'll try to eat, healthier foods, just keep the quantities and all that stuff in check. And I go, what exercise can you do? She goes, well, and she's a school teacher. She's really busy. She does a lot and she's on her feet all day. So she's somewhat active and moving around. And I go, well, what exercise can you do?
Yeah.
And she goes, I can walk. Like I will walk around my neighborhood And I go, okay, well, how long could you do it? I could do it for 30 minutes. I go, okay, we'll start there, 30 minutes, 3 times a week. And then now she walks 3 or 4 miles a day, like maybe an hour, like whenever. And that's all exercise she did. And she just adjusted her diet a little bit and she lost a significant amount of weight. Everything improved. And her doctor was floored. He was like, whatever you're doing, I don't know what it is, just keep doing it. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to go in there in the gym. My point being, you don't have to go in the gym and like kill yourself every day to get in shape. It's really what you can do consistently over a long period of time.
Exactly. And you'll start seeing results 6 months to 8 months down the road, but you won't see it, the first 3 months. Just get that out of your head. But
yeah,
and that's what I kind of thought of when I'm trying to build muscle right now. I'm up almost 20 pounds in 7 months from just strength training. But honestly, the hardest part of it all is just getting myself to go to the gym. But once I walk in that door, the hardest part's over. It's like, oh, well, now I can just sweat it out with everybody else up in here and get after it. That's just the hardest part, is setting time from your day for this, to prioritize your body.
Yeah.
And once you do that, once you get that in your mindset, like, hey, this is something that's going to benefit me now. It's going to benefit me as soon as I walk out the door. It's going to benefit me tomorrow morning when I wake up, because I'm going to get a lot better, a lot better rest that night. So, I mean, it's just, it's a compounding effect. And I don't think people see it that way. They just think of, okay, well, it's going to make me look better. No, it's not only going to make you look better, it's going to make you feel better every minute of the day.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be able to build on that momentum to do other things that you want to do. It's just something, I call it a foundation. Once I get this foundation out the way, I can go do other things that I want to do, that I want to build on. It's just something that I'm never leaving it, is what I'm saying, Patrick.
Yeah, dude,
I'm never getting out of it.
You catch the itch, man. And and I think I'll make a couple points and feel free to interrupt me at any point.
Yeah.
I think me and you are both very well versed on science and pharmacy and nutrition, all that stuff, because we've been there, done that. But I'm not kidding. If you do nothing else, if you just pick one thing to do consistently to improve every aspect of your health and wellness in general, is regular exercise mixed between cardio and strength training. If you can find a regimen, however that may be, body weight, whatever, yoga, Pilates, like something. If you can do that consistently,
it'll change your life.
That would be the most important longevity wellness lever you can pull. And I would number 2 behind that, and is not nutrition or supplements or any of that. It's sleep. If you can get a consistent exercise pattern down and sleep adequately, you'll be good to go. And then once you do those 2 things consistently, then you can worry about the nutrition and getting really specific. But keep it simple, stupid. Like my dad would tell me that when I was playing baseball all the time, when I would start overthinking it, and I'd be like, okay, yep. Just, I can't think about this or overthink it or get too bogged down in the weeds. Like I have to just do what I know works. For me, that's a reminder, because when you're in the field that we're in, you're always inundated and asked questions that are super, out in left field. And you're like, if you live there, that's how you're going to think everything is. In reality, it's just like, oh, what's Sam doing? Sam's consistently going to the gym and everything else. He's not overthinking. He's just doing what he can stick with. And there's a lot of power in that. But another point you raised, and I want to get your opinion on this too, is you have to, however it takes you to get there, like just that, there's a lot of power in this decision to like buy in and just do it. Like, how do I, let me see if I can phrase it another way, but like you can't, there's nothing I could tell. If you were a person who has never worked out and has no idea what they're doing, there's nothing I can tell you on this podcast that's going to make you just, there's nothing that's going to motivate you to the point where you just are all in. Like you have to 100% commit yourself to change and like want to change and want to implement these habits before you but it's different. It's a different mindset. If you go into it like kind of half into it, half out, like, oh, work out, I've got a beach trip in 3 months. I really want to look better for it. Like that. Once that beach trip hits, you're going to stop doing it. And then you're going to go right back to your old ways. But if you just know that I'm in it for the long haul and it's going to take long periods of time for me to do this the right way, it's a different mindset, man. I think that's one that I think you for sure do.
Yeah.
I've never once heard you say that like I need to do X goal for X reason in 3 months time. You're in it for the long haul, which is a mindset that not a lot of people have.
Yeah. And I think about it, what does my great grandpa think of this? Like you're doing it for your ancestors, the people that probably had it a lot tougher than what we have now.
Oh, for sure.
You do it for them. I mean, and you. So I've made it to this. I'm alive. I'm living now, and why not do it 100%? Why not be the best that I can be? There's a lot to it, in terms of your grandpa. He worked a day job his whole life for you to get college education. Well, my mom, she raised me up. She worked as a teacher to get a college education, and she's like, "We'll go further. Go to a graduate program and get a graduate degree. Step up. Use me as a stepping stone to leverage yourself into something further that you can go do." And that's what I think of with working out too. Is hey, I mean, you have a body that you can walk. You're not disabled. You're not. You literally have all motion, all range of motion. Why don't you use that to build yourself up? And then people look at you differently when you're in shape. They respect you more. No, I'm not for the respect, but I'm there for somebody to look at me and be like, okay, this guy may have his life together. And they're going to listen to me over somebody that's sitting there eating McDonald's and is, about 30 pounds overweight. Who are you going to respect more? Somebody that has the discipline or somebody that has, that's just talking and I know this, but it's, that's the way I look at it. Is it's more of just kind of having a respect for the past people that have sacrificed for you. In a sense,
it's a practice what you preach type method.
Cool to,
I agree. Like I share your sentiment too, for sure. Like how do I say this? Like you're as healthcare providers, right? Like I would feel really weird. I like to stay in my lane and I know what my qualifications are, what I can talk about, what I can't, but it would be like someone coming up to me and going, "Hey, talk to me about weight loss." But if I'm a pharmacist who's not taking care of himself, has bad habits, sedentary too much, don't sleep enough, eat too much bad food, I'm just not disciplined. It's going to bother me if I'm up there, hey, I have a degree, blah, blah, blah. You should do what I say. And it's like, but I don't practice it. Like clearly I'm looking at you. I don't have to know. I'm not even registering what you're saying. It's just, you're telling me to be healthier, but you don't look like you even do that. And there's a lot of patients are going to think that way. And that by no means does that not mean listen to your doctor or anything. Like I know plenty of doctors that I would consider myself in better shape than them. However, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But when you have someone who's got a job that's harder, more demanding, and is, busier than yours, and they're in better shape than me, it doesn't make me use it as an excuse. It just gives me motivation. I'm like, well, if they can figure it out, I sure can. What's my excuse?
If they can find time to go to the gym, then, I'm just working 9 to 5. I can do that. I don't have to think after I clock out. I can do that. So yeah, that's another thing that I've kind of leveraged in the pharmacy world is, just trying to be in the best shape that's motivation in trying to lead people to a healthier lifestyle because I mean everybody it just seems like everybody's lost out there.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, just the blind leading the blind.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, this
And
is
and I feel like that's what you've noticed too.
for
We
sure.
talked about it throughout school, you're always health and wellness oriented. You've always wanted to go with like the supplements and kind of the health and
Mhm.
working out, strength training, all that. But because there's something there. There's
Mhm.
something that there's an itch that needs to be scratched in the pharmacy world.
Yeah, there's I think there's 2 points I want to make there. One of my favorite fitness people that I follow is Lane Norton. So he's a bit bio Lane on like Instagram. He does a lot of debunking nutrition stuff, but I digress. He's a national power lifter too. He's really in shape. Um, but my favorite quote from him, and I might butcher it, but it goes something like this: the
Yeah.
results you want are in the work you're not doing. And I'm like, that's a lot of like everything you want is you can think about it, you can have the best plan, you can have everything written out, plan to a T, but if you don't execute it, it's useless. So whatever that is, like if all you can do is walk around the block, do that. If all you
Yeah.
can do is just some body weight stuff, like just start with what you can do, and then just you'll feel better, and then just gradually go from there. You don't have to go in the gym and start throwing around weight and be so sore that you can't move for 2 weeks and then quit. You got to have some sort
Yeah.
of you got to do something consistently. I mean, I can't tell you, Sam, how many times in pharmacy school they would tell us how important exercise was and lifestyle changes and stuff. But we didn't have time to
Yeah.
really talk about that because we had to know all the drug stuff. And
Exactly. They just kind of said, "Hey, this is what you need to do."
yeah,
But let's talk more about on this subject because this is what you're here to teach other people about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into a pharmacy conversation, but like if I think the unfortunate part of our healthcare system is that we don't really get that much time to like actually invest in patients. So I try my best to do that outside of work if I can. If someone wants
Yeah.
to work with me, but the
Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Count down to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.
Ah, feel the whoa with Listerine at BJ's. You can save $2.50 now on Listerine products like Total Care Anti-Cavity Fluoride Fresh Mint Mouthwash or Cool Mint Pocket Packs Fresh Breath Strips at your nearest BJ's location. Experience the feeling of a million germs zapped in seconds with Listerine. Discount available through December 24th. Save now only at BJ's.
beautiful thing about pharmacy that no other profession can really say that they have is we have we're consistently ranked the most, if not up there, top 3 most trusted healthcare professionals. So people
Yeah.
trust
It's huge.
what we have to say. And 2, we get the most patient interaction. Now, it may not be an hour at a time, but I see patients, some of them on a daily, if not multi days per week basis. And that's just every week. So any chance I can set myself up to facilitate that conversation. So like you're running a marathon, like you can talk to people about that in the pharmacy and like mention it. You never know who's going to go, "Hey Sam, like what'd you do?" Like it just, you taking care of yourself
Mhm.
facilitates people that are looking for that to be drawn to you and go, "Hey, how did you figure it out?" And then it just plants the seed for
Yeah.
you to teach them what you know and then let them run with it. Because at the end of the day, like the work has got to be done. Like I can tell you all the things to do, but again, you have to execute it and it's on you to move forward and do that. So like it's not just if you're waiting around for someone to do it for you, you're going to be waiting for a long time. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can think about it. You can plot on what to do every day, have a great program set out. But man, just get there.
Just
Just walk in the
yeah,
door.
let's get.
Yeah.
I've never once gone to the gym and I've felt
And regretted
I've
it.
never regretted it. I've always walked out there feeling better than I did
Yeah.
when I walked in. And that's just the hard part.
Yes.
For me, it's like getting up early in the morning. I still suck at it, but I'm trying. That
Oh
voice in
man.
your head, man, when you're
That's
comfy,
another level.
when you're comfortable, man, in that bed and that alarm goes off and you're like, oh, and it, like that voice in the back of your head's just like, hit the snooze button, do it. You got to shut that off. I've still haven't
I
quite figured out how to do that yet, but I'm trying. I'm really trying.
that is the next level discipline that I'm trying to reach.
Hmm.
But as of right now, let's get that sleep
Hmm.
so I can, one step at a time.
Yeah.
But I applaud people that can get up at 4:35 and hit the gym. And just if anybody's out there that's listening to this podcast, feel free to email us and show it and tell us your secrets on
Hmm.
it because I haven't figured it
I
out
haven't
yet. I
either.
mean, it's just straight up
I haven't either.
it's almost like you have to set your bedtime up for 9 o'clock,
Hmm.
which it's
It's
9:09 right now.
Yeah. That's my problem. Like I
So
have all the motivation to get up at 5 and work out, but then if I'm going to bed at midnight, I'm already screwed. Like I'm getting maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then I'm like fit. And then let's say you do get up and go get to the gym, you're dragging, and your workout's going to suck because you are sleep deprived.
yeah,
So I think a consistent exercise routine is great, but man, like sleep can't be sacrificed either. Um, so if
yeah,
you can get those two things down, the nutrition stuff you can implement later, and then supplements and stuff like that. That's the easy part. But yeah, that's tough. Are you when you work out? Are you after work? Do you go after work, or when do you work out? What's your preferred?
yes, I go straight from work. I go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't even stop at the house. I have my workout clothes with me. I just go straight there.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, kind of knock out two birds with one stone. I'm passing by my gym on the way
Mm-hmm.
home, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not make it easy? So
Yeah, I'm fortunate with my schedule. I'm fortunate enough to I don't have to really go in. I work 10 to 6:30. I'll usually close, but we don't close super late. But I don't have to get to the
yeah,
pharmacy at 8 a.m. So I usually try to get up, eat something. I can work out fast if I'm in a pinch, but I try not to, and just for personal preference. But then I will try to be I want to be in the gym ready to go 7:30, and then I can work out from
yeah,
7:30 to about 8:30, 8:45, shower, change, drive, because I've got a long commute to work. So I've got to account for that. But that seems to work decently well for me. But again, every time, if I want to do cardio or something and try to do both that day, I am not motivated when I get home to do cardio. So it's like I've probably got to start getting up a little earlier and doing that before I leave for the gym. But yeah, it's been a grind because I'm a night owl. Like I'll stay up late and do whatever, and that doesn't always work out
yeah.
well for me if I'm trying to wake up early. There's a
It's
you've seen
the
those memes on Instagram where it's like, man, I would do anything for 8 hours of sleep, and then the other guy's like, how about going to bed 8 hours before you have to wake up? And the guy goes, no, I gotta do that.
can't do that. No.
There's a lot of truth to that, man. So okay, I guess since we're on that topic, so just anything the basic point, guys, is whatever working out or exercise looks like for you, whether you're working or stay at home mom, a busy, manual labor job, just do something consistently. Now, if you have a very physically active job and you're moving heavy things and are on your feet all day, maybe try not to go too hard after work or you're going to wear yourself out, but make it work for your lifestyle, I guess, and what your goals are. And then don't sweat and then you can worry about the details later. But
Yeah.
And then, everybody, the only other question after working out, what do you do? So my split that I do for working out. I don't know if you, Sam, you know who Paul Sklar is?
I do
Okay,
not.
look him up. He's
I'm
like
about
a
to Google him
super,
real quick. No.
he's a super, he's like in his 40s. He's super fit, really track athlete, like really built dude, but he's a natural guy. He doesn't do any of the crazy stuff, but he looks very in shape. He has a workout
Yeah.
program that I really like because it takes about an hour to hour and a half to do it, the volume correctly. And he mixes up a good bit of stuff. So I follow his program, but I think a good split that I think anyone can do would be a push pull legs is probably the most gym bro one I can recommend, where it's like upper body, chest, shoulders type stuff. Pull would be back,
Yeah.
back and arms type thing. So push day is chest, shoulders, triceps. Back pull day would be back, biceps, and then you can work some core in there, and then legs. And then I'll do 3 on, take a day off in the middle of the week, and then do another 2 days after that, which are more full body mix of everything. And then I'm starting to work in some core.
Yeah.
One thing I severely lack in and slack in ever since my injury, it's kind of ruined this, is stretching. I don't stretch before I work out, but I'm terrible at stretching after. Like most of the time I don't do it. And then I'm like, man, I used to be able to touch my toes. I can't even touch my toes now. Like, no wonder my back hurts all the time. My flexibility is in the trash can. Like I'm not nimble or like nearly as flexible as I used to be playing college ball. I need to get back to that bad. But like the women that do,
If you're not running from
the women that do the like people who do yoga consistently for working out, you guys are freaks. I have tried to do yoga a couple times and I've never been in more I've never felt more humiliated. I'm like in shape. I look like really, strong and built. And then I get in there and I'm like, how are these women holding these poses? Like I'm dying and I want to go home. And they're in there just like,
That's
it's
great.
nothing. I'm like, this is just a crazy impressive.
Yeah, it's almost cultish. I've been in there with my ex before, and it's almost cultish. It's a little weird. I get a weird vibe, but and I can't hit all the stretches, but I'm there.
Yeah.
But it's wild. Yeah, it's a unique experience. I feel like everybody needs to go out there and I mean, you could get the same experience if you just sit in the sauna and then just do some weird stretches.
Yeah.
Just Google weird stretches, and then there you go. But not to downplay
No,
them at all.
but
I mean, that's a great thing they got going.
yeah, I'm always impressed with that. Another key thing I don't think we've touched on is proper form too. If you guys are going to go into strength training, don't let your ego get ahead of you. Really focus on, don't worry so much about the weights, especially if you've never lifted them before. Just really focus on the form for a while until you don't have to worry about it anymore. Then start adding the weight, because last thing you want is poor form when you're if you're under a squat rack or something like that, especially if you don't have a training partner there to help you. That's one thing. I've had a couple training partners, but I usually just go solo, but I would never try to push the weight. Like I know where my limits are. I'm not going to go in there and try to one rep max bench if I've got no one in the gym with me. Cause if I fail, I'm in trouble. And it's happened before.
Yeah, for sure. That's another thing about getting, somebody that wants to go with you, is that they'll be your accountability partner to show up to the gym. And also they'll be able to spot you. So you can actually push yourself harder than just working out by yourself. That's one thing that I don't have here in Little Rock, is I don't have anybody that has the same schedule as me to go.
Same.
So I'll ask a random guy here and there, hey, can you spot me on bench here? And everybody's so friendly there, so they're like, of course, And then I meet a new friend, so it's lifelong friends there at the gym. Everybody's just trying to get a pump on and better themselves. So it's definitely a good community to be around. Just to show up and be around all those people that are trying to better themselves. You'll eventually it'll rub off on you too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't have anybody around here. It'd be nice, but sometimes life gets busy.
Yep.
Like like you said earlier, it's so hard to find time too. So if you're only allotted an hour after work, then there you go.
Mhm.
But, now we're talking about this saying we don't have any free time, but think about all the kids or the people that have kids
Mhm.
that have those responsibilities. Those are huge responsibilities. I don't see how a family or
Mhm.
a father of 3 or 4 kids can even get in the gym.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea for that?
I've thought about that quite a few times, and I've asked a few people that I know that do it anyway. And what I've
Yeah,
found, there's either two things. Either they work out before, like depending again, it depends on your kid. Like if you just had a newborn and your sleep schedule's all out of whack, like again, this may not work. But
yeah,
people that I know that their kids are in school, and they know what time they have to get the kids to school by, then
yeah,
they tend to work out in the morning before, and give themselves enough time to do their morning duties, like getting lunches ready, stuff like that. Or you could wait till the kids go to bed and facilitate a bedtime that gives you a little bit of time after they're asleep and ready to go, um, to where you could get a workout in. I know people, one of my buddies has kids, and he has a home gym. Like he has a few sets of dumbbells in his garage. I think he bought like a cheap squat rack he could get like on Amazon that he put together, and a few like rubber mats in the gym so he can drop weights and not to worry about messing stuff up. So he'll go in the gym either late at night or just when he can find time and just do something. Um, you know,
yeah,
I know people that will that do manual labor jobs that are like, picking up boxes, or you being a UPS driver in and out of the truck, like moving, picking up
yeah,
heavy stuff, to where when they get home, if they don't have the time and they're probably not the energy to do it, you could do something, a core workout, something really body weight, just something to get the heart rate up a little bit. It doesn't take, again, whatever works, whatever you can do in those time frame. And if you have to split it up, if your 30 minutes has to be split up 10-minute sessions 3 times a day, wherever you can find it, that's fine. And then you can
yeah.
adjust it accordingly. But yeah, I say, we said that there isn't time, but in reality there is. There's time if you make it. But again,
Yeah, I agree.
doing that, you don't want to sacrifice on the big things. Like sleep is not something that I like to consistently deprive myself of, because not that my workouts are harder. It's just difficult at work with the pharmacy stuff to kind of
Yeah,
stay on point and not miss something. So yeah, another thing too is, especially for females, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not speaking like I understand that, but I know, I think it's a disservice that we kind of like have not pushed strength training on females as much as we should. Every female doesn't want
yeah,
to lift weights, and the main reason I hear that is, well, I don't want to get too bulky or like too big. It's like
yeah.
it takes a long time just to put on, a small amount of muscle. So like if anything, that's just not going to be the case.
Yes.
Um, and the girls that I know that do lift weights consistently they are more addicted to it in terms of how they feel than the guys that have been doing it for years. It's
Oh,
impressive.
100%. I have a tech that she said, I don't know what I'd do without the gym. It's my happy place. And I mean, she has plenty of energy at work. She never complains at work. I mean, there's just something about it. I don't know if it's just her personality or what, but I mean, she's a great worker at the pharmacy, and it kind of makes sense that she busted at the gym too, but never complains, nothing like
Yeah.
that. So there's definitely something there too, like it's probably just working out gives you more energy throughout the day. And it was funny because my mom I was talking to her yesterday, and she said, you know what, I want to get back in the gym, but I never get to the point to where when I work out, it gives me more energy. It's always draining me,
Hmm.
and I'm always sore for way too long. She asked me straight up, "Hey, how long is it going to take to where whenever I work out, it gives me more energy?" And I really didn't have a straight answer for her. I just kind of shot a number around, honestly, probably 3 months
Mhm.
to where your body gets acclimated to it is a good starting point. But do you have anything on that to where, that transition in metabolism to where your body is not going into catabolism, but
Yeah. So
anabolism?
there's multiple factors at play when it comes to that. So, and I've mentioned this in my other podcast episodes. People assume that like if struggling to lose weight or they exercise but they can't seem to like see a difference or notice a difference, they'll think that something's wrong with my metabolism. I hate to break it to you, it's not how metabolism works. The benefit that I see, don't think about it like working out gives me energy, because that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You have to expend a lot of energy to do that. However, when you're consistently exercising and stimulating that muscle breakdown, micro injury and repair, and that muscle starts to grow, you're building a strong foundation of muscle there that is just begging to soak up energy. So this isn't
Yep.
a caveat of if you work out really hard, you can eat whatever you want. It's not the case. However, if you consistently exercise over time and it gets easier, and then you can push yourself a little bit further and add more weight and do it more consistently, it's only going to benefit you, because your muscles and stuff are just going to soak up any of that extra energy that you do consume via a healthy, balanced diet, hopefully, to where you will be eating more. You don't have to be as aggressive with your, calorie intake and stuff to facilitate weight loss, but you're also feeding yourself more and giving yourself more of a cushion in terms of food amount because you're exercising consistently. And when you do that, you're replacing the less metabolically active tissues like fat. Fat does burn some calories, and it does take some calories to maintain what fat mass you have, but muscle mass is significantly more demanding in terms of, or metabolically active. So if you increase that muscle mass, you're going to drastically improve your energy expenditure without you really even having to realize it. So you can get away with eating more. But again, the other point that you have to do too is it takes time. And you've said that multiple times. You have to be realistic with your goals. Like if your goal is to put muscle on, in reality, it takes a long time to build muscle the correct way. Same thing with weight loss. A lot of people are like, I want to lose 10 pounds in a week. No, you don't. You do not want to do what it takes to lose 10 actual pounds of body fat in a week. It's severe restriction, like crazy amounts. And if you do that and then you try to work out on top of it, your body's going to go, not doing that. I will, and if your body will either be so sore because you're not giving it the energy it needs to account for how hard you're working out, your body's just going to shut down, and it's just going to go into protect mode, so to speak, even though that's not really a scientific term for that. But
you're surviving at that point because your body's there for longevity.
But
so if you're limiting your calories, it goes into, okay, well, I got to start using this muscle mass for energy, and it just starts breaking down itself,
well,
in a sense.
Another thing too, like again,
Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Countdown to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.
Feel the whoa with Listerine at BJ's. You can save $2.50 now on Listerine products like Total Care Anti-Cavity Fluoride Fresh Mint Mouthwash or Cool Mint Pocket Packs Fresh Breath Strips at your nearest BJ's location. Experience the feeling of a million germs zapped in seconds with Listerine. Discount available through December 24th. Save now, only at BJ's.
Any type of the biggest sources of like glycogen. So if you eat a diet high in carbohydrates or moderate to any degree, if you're working out, you're going to deplete a lot of your glycogen stores, which is basically a fast acting carb source that your muscles store. Your liver stores plenty of it too, that your body could then preferentially use when you exercise for that energy boost. So the more muscle you have and the more strong that foundation is, the more glycogen you can then store in said tissues that you can use in an exercise, whether that be anaerobic or aerobic activity, really intense stuff. You're going to not fatigue as fast. You're going to feel like you have more energy, when in reality, your exercise isn't creating the energy. It's you are building the foundation to store more of that energy in terms of fast acting fuel sources that your muscles can use to help you throughout a workout. And then if you couple that with eating a balanced meal in the right proportions, depending on what type of exercise you're about to do, your body is going to use its muscle glycogen stores first, depending on the intensity of the activity.
Yeah.
And then it's going to preferentially use the energy you've consumed from the meal that you just had. Because your body doesn't want to do the work. Your body wants to find the quickest fuel source without having to go through all these different steps and processes. So when people say they need more energy, they get energy from their workout, it's usually from that aspect and not necessarily that workout itself is giving it. And then the more you do it, the more adaptive your body becomes to that exercise. It just gets easier. But the moment you fall out of routine or you take a break, it does not take a long time at all to get out of shape. It takes a long time to get into shape. Getting out of shape don't take much time. It's easy. You just do nothing. So that's the nature of the beast too, man. Because it's like you could be a killer athlete for years and be on top of your game, but an injury or life happens and you take a break. It's rough. It takes time to get back in the swing of things. So be patient. I think people really try to do too much too fast and they just burn themselves out. So just do something that you can consistently, gradually improve on week to week. Is good. And then just be in it for the long run. Like it's going to, it's going to take time, but in our culture today, that's that fast, getting that quick fix fast mentality is hard to unlearn, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's a great way to look at it. That long mentality is honestly it's not the only way to look at it, but if you think about it, hey, how is my quality of life going to be in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to cut 10 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to cut 10 pounds every spring break, to look good in photos? Or do I just, stay on a steady trend of cutting down 10 pounds over 6 months? First off, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to have more energy, and it's going to last a lot longer. It just makes more sense to do it that way and to stay active versus, like you said, the short-term fixes. But, everybody wants instant gratification too. So it's another thing. Hey, you gotta have delayed gratification. You're not going to get it today. You're not going to get it tomorrow, but maybe 6 months you're going to see something.
Yeah.
And that's, it's so hard it's almost like a battle with your mind. There's so much to go into this.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we can just dive off into so many different tangents of what creates this masterpiece of, what Michelangelo did with David, the sculpting David. I mean, there's just so much that goes into that. And there's a balance to it, but honestly, the best start is knowing to knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And once you know all these different routes that you can take, it's just a matter of going and doing now.
Yeah, it's
And so
execution's key.
that's what I try to do. Is I'm not going to be able to take every one of my patients to the gym with me,
Mm-hmm.
but drop them a knowledge bomb here, a bit of knowledge here,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of give them hints like, hey, this is kind of the right direction you need to go, because you really don't technically have time
Mm-hmm.
in the workflow of today's world. But yeah, just dropping those little bits of knowledge is key. I think key, because once you know it and you don't act on it, then it's technically I'm putting the blame on, you know, I've done all I can do
Mm-hmm.
here. Now the blame is on you. Like, okay, do you want to push yourself and be better in life, or do you just want to keep doing the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you raise a good point for sure. I mean, again, the way our healthcare system is set up is not conducive with the patient to see the patients that we have to see. And I guess it's not as pharmacy's different, but from like a physician standpoint, I've talked to one of my good friends, Dr. Richard Harris, who's works with us at the pharmacy and does stuff for Nimbus 2. He's in a PharmD, but he also has his MD too. He's a brilliant dude. He has his own podcast. It's all name drop it because he's a great dude. It's called the Strive for Great Health podcast. He's a super smart guy, very, very active. Me and him have conversations back and forth because we're, on the same wavelength when it comes to wellness. But I'm not speaking for him, but I know kind of where he stands. I think there's a lot of benefit to thinking about fitness and exercise, not in short-term goals or like you were saying earlier, like for vanity or whatever, because all that's fleeting. It's when I'm 80 years old, I want my family to not have to worry about me being in the house by myself. Like, if I can get about, move pretty easy, if I can do body weight squats and not be really struggling at an old age, having that muscle mass later on in life is going to do you so many. I can't even tell you how the benefits of it, because it's so important. And you're not having to worry about, if I fall and no one's here to help me, I'm in trouble. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Stuff may happen still, accidents are likely, but if you have the mentality of, if I put the work in right now and I do it over time and I'm consistent with it, and this is just what I do now, when you're later in life, it's only going to benefit you. Because I'm not speaking we do a lot of nursing home management. So I know, what the medications look like. I know how difficult life is for these patients, especially in these assisted living facilities that we help with.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking for them, but I'm sure if they could go back and do it all over again, they would have probably prioritized fitness way back, and it's never too late.
That one cut there. I was thinking of just sitting there laying in a bed in a nursing home, and I'm 85, and you're out here still, jogging, doing exercises, and just being active. Just what the trajectory of my life, if I would just lived and didn't work out, it's just really humbling to think about.
Don't get me wrong.
I wouldn't be independent.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's people that, have perfectly healthy, active lives that don't do that. I'm not saying, I'm not singling out those people, but for example, my great grandmother, she was a sweet lady, freaking mentally sharp. That woman could remember details better in her 90s than I can remember now. And I'm only 29 years old. I'm not kidding. My dad tells a story all the time. She mowed her yard by herself until she was 96 years old.
Oh,
she was active.
That's so
she
impressive.
Was moving. The only thing, she was in her late 90s, and she had some health issues afterwards because she had a bad fall. And at 96, I don't care what kind of good shape you're in, a fall does a lot of damage. But that woman was up and going, never stopped, was always doing something. She would go, I think one of her big routines was her and her friends from church would go and they would meet 2 or 3 times a week and walk around a track. And like, they would just, talk about life, whatever, but she was always going. And not only was she physically strong, but she was mentally very, very with it. That's another thing too. Like you don't have to just work out for physical, like your physical body, but your mental health and your cognition will only improve too. Because I know plenty of guys, some of the fittest people I know, the only reason they go to the gym is mental health, and that it makes them feel better and they don't have to sit at home and think about things that bother them. That's their release. And as men, like having that physical release to just go get that stress out is key, because if not, we just, as man, we tend to just bottle stuff up and push stuff down and push it until you can't handle it anymore. And then you just lose it. Whereas if I'm frustrated and pissed off or something, my day sucked, I go in the gym, throw some weight around, and I guarantee you I'm going to feel better. Listen to some, well, I listen to really heavy metal music when I work out, and I just get in a good mood.
Yeah.
So just any exercise is great, but man, think about it in terms of how do I want to be at 85 not exactly. Versus how I want to be so I can show off on Instagram, because I guarantee you, if you do the former, you can show off on Instagram and you won't have to worry about it. You won't have to Photoshop any of your pics or do any editing skills, man. And then people will ask you, man, what's he doing? And you be like,
and the quality of your life, it will be great, compared to just living on the couch. I mean, you'll be able to have so much energy to do anything you dream of. It's just like I said, the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we're meant to move.
I don't think a lot of
I've never felt good when if I take a week off the gym or if I go on vacation for a week. I don't know about you, but if I go on vacation, I drink too much, I eat whatever I want. Like I'm chilling on the beach with a margarita or whatever. After about day 4, I'm sitting there going, I want to go back to the gym. I want to go back to the gym. I want to go back to the gym. Like my honeymoon was like that. We were there for a week and it was like, we were in the Caribbean. It was awesome, And then by day 5, I'm like, Jess, do you want to go home? She's like, I want to go home and work out so bad. I'm like, well, we can work out in the hotel gym here. And she's like, I'm on my honeymoon. I'm not doing that. I'll do it when I get home. But it's funny, man. Like you'll be surprised if you're a person who's sedentary, who doesn't do much. It's okay. Make that decision to start moving forward now, and then just get after it, and you'll feel better in no time. Yeah. I mean, the only time I ever feel really down and upset with just how I feel is when I'm not active.
Yeah. And if you don't feel better, you feel free to email us and tell us how you feel. We'd love to hear all about it.
The answers. If you've got it, like I said, I'll pay you some good money for a trick to get 8 hours of sleep and work out at 4:30 in the morning every day. Yeah. I'm married, but I don't have kids yet. And what I would love to do, I would love to have a guest on here that has 3 or 4 kids that works out like a beast. And I would just love to pick their brain about what they did, like what they did before. How were they working out when they were like me? And then how are they working out with 4 kids, and how do they balance that? Because dude, I would pay a good bit of money for that advice.
Yeah. That's locked in the safe somewhere in a family of 6. Because you don't see many people talking about it. They don't have time to talk about it. They just do, at that point. They're just doers, not talkers. So
Sam, anything else? Any other knowledge, tips, or wisdom, or anything you want to talk about on this? I think as we continue to put episodes out, I don't know about you, I don't want to overcomplicate things. Like, I could easily get on here and do a really fancy talk about how all complex the science is. It's not practical.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. We got to be able to sit here, analyze really complex topics, and then just give people practical information. Because it's really easy to overcomplicate it. And then next thing you know, you forgot why you started.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. You can dive into the weeds so much that you're sitting there reading up on everything instead of actually doing it. So totally makes sense.
Yep. All right. Well,
But yeah, I don't really have anything for you, Patrick. I mean, I feel like we've hit just about everything I can think of.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll think of something as soon as we click end on this podcast.
Good thing about that is we got plenty of time to put more stuff out. We've only what, this will be episode 4. So we got a long way to go till we get to Joe Rogan numbers. I forget what episode of his show he's at. I'm going to look it up real fast.
I think he's in the thousands.
Oh, for sure. Let me see. Let's see. I follow him on here. So let's see if I can.
We're going to catch you, Joe.
Oh, sure.
We're going to catch you.
The only way we catch Joe is if when he gets old. By the time he's in his 80s, we'll maybe catch up. Oh, see, so he's at.
We're a time. We're a time billionaire, Joe.
His next episode will be 2000. So he's put out 1,999 episodes. So, and then
that is incredible.
Okay, the oldest one, the first episode he ever did was December 23rd, 2009. So I was a freshman in high school when he started it. So we got work to do, Sam. We got work to do for sure.
Is that 14 years of hard work and consistency? I mean, he has perfected it at this point, though. Honestly.
I mean, I don't know how he does 3 hours because we're at an hour and 16 minutes right now. And like we just scratched the surface, but at the same time, like, he did an episode the other day I was listening to that was 3.5 hours. It's impressive. I would, hopefully with the episodes moving forward on here that people will get something out of it. And I don't care if 5 people watch it or 1,000 people watch it every episode or more. If there's just one person out there that can implement some of the stuff we're talking about on here, man, that's makes all the difference.
It's all worth it at that point, Yep.
I don't know about like,
for sure.
We, as pharmacists, man, there's nothing better than seeing our patients do good and improve. I don't want you on I don't want you on more medications. I want you off medications. And how are we going to do that? And those constant interactions and tidbits of knowledge and truth bombs that you can throw at them is going to pay off dividends if you can see them consistently. You can do more work in a month in the pharmacy in terms of patient interaction than a doctor can in a year.
Yeah.
Just because they don't have the time.
Oh, I know. And I know. I like to call them truth bombs because it just blows their world and it just puts them in a whole different perspective, just different perspective and thinking than what they're always hit with,
Yes.
From just living life.
Yep. All right, Sam, but we're going to wrap it up, guys. This was a fun conversation. This isn't going to be the last time. I told them, life happens, but if we can put out something good, at least on the weekly or bi-weekly basis, great. I'll try to mix up the content over a wide variety of topics. But Sam, I'll get with you here soon because my goal is to have both me and you on some of the guest interview episodes where it's not just me talking. Having me and you and the guest on would be awesome because then we can both hit them from different perspectives. So I appreciate it, Sam. I will see you in a little bit. You're going to come visit. We're going to have a good time down here in Austin, and we'll have a good one.
I'm so excited for that.
You will have to keep yourself occupied. I do have to work that Saturday shift in the morning, so I'm not free till 2. But I think you'll be all right. You can occupy yourself.
Just give me a key to your gym.
I'll give you my gym key.
That's all I ask.
Give you my gym key. You can whatever. Totally fine. Yeah, we'll do that. But all right, Sam, I'll catch you later, brother, and we'll chat here soon. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Wellness Transcription Podcast. If you wanted to continue to support the show, please do us a huge favor and follow, and leave us a 5-star review on any of your favorite podcasting platforms. Your support and feedback mean the world to us, and it also helps us to continue to bring you guys high-quality content moving forward. You can follow us on Instagram at the Wellness Transcription Podcast. That way you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming content and special guest interviews. As always, be well and God bless.
Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Countdown to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.
Feel the whoa with Listerine at BJ's. You can save $2.50 now on Listerine products like Total Care Anti-Cavity Fluoride Fresh Mint Mouthwash or Cool Mint Pocket Packs Fresh Breath Strips at your nearest BJ's location. Experience the feeling of a million germs zapped in seconds with Listerine. Discount available through December 24th. Save now only at BJ's.